if the Browns had lost all of these games that we've won miraculously this year, I don't know if I could still be an NFL fan after this season. The Browns have won some crazy games this year. The Bears fail Mary, the 49ers doink. We had the Colts questionable calls that went in the Browns' favor. But I guess we should not argue with luck being on our side as we move into another week and another strange week with so many injuries on both sides of the equation here. Eric, let's go to you first here. Man, I know Joe Flacco's playing, but it's hard to know who else is going to be playing on the field this Sunday.
Yeah, a big key I have for this game is going to be our offensive line play. They got their hands, everything handed to them last week by the Chicago Bears defensive front. Joel Bitonio obviously missing the beginning of that game really hurt things. This is the strength of our team. This has been the strength of our team for feels like a decade or a decade and a half since Joe Thomas has been on this team. If they can't win at the point of attack, they're going to get one-dimensional. And Joe Flacco was able to bail him out in the fourth quarter, but the first three weren't pretty. So if Michael Dunn can step up and, they can kind of finagle some running schemes and kind of quick passes, that would really, be a wise game plan for this offense. The Texans sacked Will Levis 7 times last week and held him to under 200 yards passing. So the run game also only had 66 yards for the Titans last week. So, the Texans are no slouch as a defense. The Browns, whoever's in there for those starting 5 on the offensive line is going to have their hands full. I'm hoping Joel Bitonio will be back, but it sounds that it's going to be a tall task from what I'm hearing in the news. So, Jonathan Greenard and Derek Barnett are 2 guys to keep an eye on. Greenard has over 12.5 sacks this year, and Barnett hasn't necessarily had tremendous amount of success, but he's a first-round pick, came over from the Eagles. So those 2 guys that are gonna, want to keep your eyes on for this offense. And I would expect, like I said, just those quick passing games, maybe open things up a little bit and try to not keep them contained within the box so we can maybe have those stretch plays that we saw in the fourth quarter to Marquise Goodwin, to Amari Cooper. That's going to be our best recipe for success. So, hopefully we get it done. Haven't had too much success on the road this year, but, it's another game, another opportunity.
Yeah, I'm probably going to expect some turnovers if we don't see CJ Stroud. We see former Brown Case Keenum over with the Texans. Joe Flacco has just been airing it out. Drew, I think this is just going to, I don't know if either team runs the ball. I think this is going to be mostly a passing attack that we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, first, chill out, YouTube comments, folks, right? Like, I understand that they have been exceptionally unlucky on the injury front. Okay, we do have to acknowledge some of the strange ways that they found ways to win games. All right, so potentially some of this has evened out with the football gods. They giveth, they taketh away. We've won some strange games this year where traditionally in the past we would have lost. That's all we're trying to acknowledge. And yes, I did choose the Buckeyes gear here. This is in solidarity with our guy CJ, and hopefully just for this one game he maybe is unable to play. That's not wishing injury on anybody, certainly, but if he were to be unable to play in this particular game, that would certainly favor the Browns. And I think you've seen some of that with regards to the line moving. The Texans came out as, I want to say, almost a field goal favored in this game. It is in Houston, and based on where things are trending right now, the Browns are favored, but more to come throughout the week on that. In terms of what to expect from these offenses, Ryan, the Texans have a very middling running game. They're 21st overall in terms of total yards gained on the ground. They're lower than that on a yards per carry basis, 28th overall. That this is not a team that runs the ball particularly well. And on the flip side, they do have a very good rushing defense. They're sixth in terms of total rushing yards allowed. On a per carry basis, they're actually better than the Bears, who also have a very good run defense. So, yeah, I think it's going to be who can pass the ball better, Joe Flacco or Case Keenum. That is a weird thing to say about two teams fighting for a playoff berth here in 2023. With that said, the Browns have the better pass defense. The Texans defense is 28th in the league in terms of yards allowed. They allow 7.7 yards per attempt. That is not very good, right? Like if the Browns can protect Flacco, which is an if with this offensive line, but if they can protect him, they have a shot between the chemistry he's developed with Amari Cooper and particularly David Njoku. They certainly that's their answer at this point. I'm resigned to it just like everybody else. Joe Flacco has to throw the ball 45 times a game for this team to win. And I think he can do it again.
Kevin Stefanski getting his flowers this week, echoing what we talked about last week, potential coach of the year bid for Stefanski. But the defense has been the rock for the Browns this season. But surprisingly, I don't know how to explain the defense too, because there's been a ton of injuries. Eric, Myles Garrett is there, but is he being thrown off by the shoulder injury that he's going through?
He definitely, he's not the same guy as he was during the Broncos game. Still productive, still getting held, still getting
held,
still getting thrown down and everything, and no calls. But
yep.
I mean, you can't really do anything about it. You can get fined some more if you want, but yeah, I mean, he's still fighting through injury, not 100%. Hopefully it's a time thing, and as long as he doesn't do anything silly to re-aggravate it, he'll be good down the home stretch of this playoff push. Yeah, we've had multiple guys step up. The two safeties, Ronnie Hickman and D'Anthony Bell, I've been playing pretty solidly, a lot more than I could have ever asked for. And then you got the kind of the rotating linebackers with Anthony Walker being out. Hopefully he comes back. We had this 2 weeks in a row where we've had a freak injury on a Friday practice, DeJuan Jones and then Walker back-to-back weeks. But hopefully he's back for this game. He's the green dot guy. He's the quarterback of the defense. It would really help things out. And I'm still kind of shudder watching Taki cover that backup tight end for the Bears, who should have easily caught the ball, but he dropped it, but we got away with one there. Don't want to see that play ever happen ever again. But yeah, I mean, all three levels, there are guys that are stepping up. I mean, they may not be as talented, may not be as strong, may not be as fast, but they're working cohesively as a unit. And I'd really like to see what Jim Schwartz has for this game plan. The Browns have kind of not done well on the road against veteran quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, to name two. Case Keenum is a veteran. I don't think he's at the level of those two. So, he's going to know some of the tricks, but I don't think he has the arm talent as the other two. So really like to see, the Browns pass rush kind of get home several times. And if nothing else, finally draw those penalties or whatever we can do to put them in, poor situations. Not having a running athletic quarterback the way we just saw last week, I think is going to help. I think, our guys are running all over the field, and those corners and safeties were very active, but they're going to have to stay home this week and stay in coverage. So it's just a matter of how we can match up against their wide receivers.
Drew, last question here. Are you comfortable giving Coach of the Year to the winner of this game, Stefanski versus DeMeco Ryans?
I think it's for Coach of the Year. Yeah, okay. I still think the Mongo McMichaels of the world, and I'm going to count that, have a shot here. But with that debacle from the Cowboys and their inability to win on the road, I think you can safely rule him out. And we'll see about the Dolphins. To borrow another Chris Broussardism, they're better break dancers than they are fighters, and we'll see how they do down the stretch as well. But these are the two coaches that I think are in line for Coach of the Year. I absolutely, yes, believe that. These are two teams that you didn't expect anything from the Texans, and they're one win away from being a playoff team. And the Browns have had the worst sort of injury luck that the league has seen in many years. Over, I think I saw it was 26% of their salary cap is on IR, which is borderline a record at this point in the season. So they've certainly overcome a lot, both those coaches, and they're both very good. And we'll see whoever wins this game, I think, probably jumps into one of the favorites, becomes one of the betting favorites for Coach of the Year.
Making the trip down to Houston. It's going to be rocking at Joe Flacco place, and we'll be watching. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.